We are really proud of EARL. For those of you that don't know what EARL is, it stands for the Enterprise Applications of the R and now Python. I was going to, Jesus Christ, and now Python language. We brought Python into it this year. EARL was an existing conference that took place for 10 years up in London, run by previous company Mango Solutions and Ascent. They passed it on to us this year, and we thought we had to give it the Datacove and Silicon Brighton touch. We can't hold it in London anymore. This might be an inkling as to where we did hold it over here at a wonderful historic hotel on the seafront, which definitely gave people the glamour when they came into the building. Lots of comments on how good the hotel, the venue, particularly the food was. We've been to other hotels here and the food wasn't very good. There was a conference next door. I was like, their food's not very good. Your food's really good. So everybody loved it at the Grand, which was great. And we had a wonderful evening event that took people up to the top of the i360 and saw lots of silly photos in photo booths with massive sunglasses. Most of them Laura was in or I was. There were very few photos that Laura or I weren't in from the i360. Not that we'd have a photo booth. Anyway, I will not keep you for too long. So, Earl, what is it? I've told you a little bit about that. We had over 200 attendees come to Brighton for 3 wonderful days of workshops, talks, inspiration, and networking. We have 4 brilliant keynote talks. I know there's probably not a lot of R people in the room, but we had Hadley Wickham, the god of R, coming to give us a talk. We also had... Oh, there we go, we're back. We had renowned authors, Andy Field from the University of Sussex, and... Oh, we're going in now. That's fine. Datacove Blue always works better, obviously. We have renowned authors, Steph Locke and Andy Field, come and share some of their expertise with us as well. And we had Crystal from the BBC talking about marketing analytics. So we had 3 really high power keynote conversations telling people about some of the work, but also some of the tips and tricks around marketing analytics, around production development in R that they've been working on as well. Feels like we're missing a slide. Are we missing a slide? I don't know. Anyway, we're missing a slide, and also the S has gone down to the second line. Cool. Well, we did have a slide of all the mugshots of our 45 speakers on it. They were beautiful. To be honest, they were probably quite small, and you probably wouldn't have been able to recognize anybody in the audience. We had our speakers, we had our chatting, we had Nigel's face on there as well. But anyway, we had some wonderful faces on there of the people that contributed towards EARL. We couldn't have done it without our speakers. But really what I want to share with you tonight is some of the themes that were coming out of that, and they're themes around R and Python. So we've got a little typical R hexagon chart here with themes, literally, because the S has gone down to the second line. But I'll just talk you through some of the things that were coming out of EARL. And really, if you want to conduct strong data analysis, what we were hearing from a lot of people, and this was not industry specific, this was just a general theme, you really need to start with strong management. Now, this particularly came from the top at Microsoft when Steph was talking in her workshop, but also in her keynote, that the right operations around Azure are essential to being able to use that system correctly. Dare I say, it came out in my talk as well, having worked with government data. There's a lot of information out there, and being able to dissect and control information, particularly when it comes to the public sector, is hard. And it needs somebody to take a strong hold of it from the top and help you understand and manage the information that you're using. We also kind of found out that measurement's hard. Now, this again isn't industry specific. We heard that measurement was hard from a lot of people in marketing. How do we measure the impact of advertising? And that came out a couple of times. But also, right at the other end of the scale, from companies like the Dogs Trust, how do we know how many dogs there are in the UK? This is really difficult to measure. How can we measure fish performance in the sea, or number of fish that are swimming around in the sea? How can we measure pretty much anything? Came out of all of these talks that we heard. Geospatial analytics is quite powerful within R, and there are some tools that make it easier and more powerful to conduct. But it is also really hard, and if you don't get your tool, or if you don't use your tools correctly, you could map things in the wrong way. So really, when you're conducting geospatial analytics, you need a specialist to be able to help you, or these tools to be able to enable you to map things correctly. Sometimes maps can be squeezed, and you can really underestimate the size of a population or the size of an area that you're looking at. The good news for everybody in the room, we had a little panel on AI, but it wasn't just the panel. It were the themes coming out of it were, AI is great, AI is brilliant, AI is doing such great things for the data community, for the world, for everybody. But it's not going to take over our jobs yet. AI needs to become more sophisticated to be able to start even think about taking over some of our jobs. Perhaps even with some things, the AI thing might become a fad. We might all be laughing about this in a few years' time. We don't know. But from specialists within the industry, we heard AI is not sophisticated enough to place a lot of the things that particularly us coders and us humans do. There are some emerging technologies coming up. So we've got Amazon Bedrock. We heard a lot about speech recognition in OpenAI Whisper as well. Again, that's probably not the most sophisticated that it can be yet, but it's a really good tool if you're trying to understand speech data, text data, and things that are similar to that. I'm going to focus on the next one because this is a really Python themed one. We had a brilliant workshop on Shiny for Python. So how many people here have come across Shiny before? Quick show of hands. Shiny has been in the R world since 2012. So it's got about 12 years of history and a massive community within the R environment and the R community as well. Shiny has recently moved into Python as well. So for those of you that don't know what Shiny is a front-end framework to showcase your R code. So you can build applications with R at the back of that application. So that could be a dashboard, it could be something that people interact with to do a booking. Any kind of web application that you want your users to interact with can be built in R with Shiny as the front end. Within the past couple of years, Python, or Shiny, has now been developed within Python. We had a really great workshop, and I'm going to say this as an R coder. I think Shiny is a lot easier to use in Python than it is in R. There you go. Big clap from the Python audience. Oh, damn, that was on video as well. Can we just scrub that bit out at the end? But what we saw was that they've developed a framework called Shiny Express. Now, we don't have this in R, but Shiny Express, for those of you that have coded in R before and you've used things like dplyr and the tidyverse, it's a really elegant way of coding in R. And I kind of feel like Shiny Express is that kind of thing in Python. It makes developing and building Shiny apps really easy. There's the good news. Sadly, the bad news is that R's got a 12-year history with Shiny. Python's only got 1 or 2 years of history. And there's not a massive community out there that are developing packages to help you build Shiny apps. In R, we've got a collection of packages. We've got JavaScript libraries that allow you to put JavaScript charts and show and hide things really easily. In Python, it's not that well developed yet. And so the message that was coming out of the conference is, if you're interested in Python and interested in Shiny, go out there, develop, share this with the world, because the bigger community that we can get in Shiny for Python, the better that will be as a tool. It's hard now, but it will become easier, and it can only be made easier by you and everybody else within the Python community. I think that's covered all the themes. Sorry, there's a lot to take in there. There was a lot for us to take in over 3 days as well. There we go. Oh, it's there's all the mug shots. Oh, wonderful. Yeah. There you go, Nigel. You're sitting right far corner over there. There's probably a few other people in the room that are on there as well. These are all of our wonderful speakers, chairs, anybody that paid a massive contribution in EARL. I wonder if some of the other slides have switched around as well, just to confuse me. The feedback from EARL has been brilliant. And, you know, honestly, I'm going to stand here and say, yeah, EARL's great. But the feedback that we've had from people, there's a couple of quotes on there. I got an email from somebody a couple of weeks ago, and somebody from India, and he said it was his first time in the UK, and he said, thank you so much for making my first time in the UK so memorable. And I just thought that was just we should have that on there. I think it probably came in too late, but it was just a really nice touch that somebody had come all the way from India. He'd never been here before. He had a great time. Our average feedback score has been 9 out of 10 so far. We're really proud and really happy. In fact, we're so proud that we're coming back next year. And you're possibly, I think this is our first meetup since EARL. So you're the first people to see this slide. We will be back on the 14th to the 16th of October. We'll be next door at the DoubleTree by Hilton this year, a little bit of a change. Also a wonderful venue, really well equipped to host the conference. And if you book your ticket between now and the end of the year, don't try it at 11:59 when you're drunk on the 31st of December. It probably won't go very well. If you go to this beautiful little QR code here, look at that. Are we really giving people 20%? 20%? Good grief. I don't know what happens when I don't write the slides. You'll get 20% off your ticket for next year if you book it before the end of the year. So go back, tell your boss tomorrow morning. This is a big conference in the R&Pi communities globally. We get people from all over the world come and join us. If you want to come and hear some of those insights and go through some of those workshops live firsthand next year, please come and join us. I believe that's the last slide, unless any have been moved around. There we go. Wonderful. I shall leave it there. Thank you very much.